video might be a little longer because we're going to look at all the other endocrine glands that we haven't talked about yet. But did you forget about the thyroid gland? We already talked about once before when we were talking about calcium homeostasis and how when we had too much calcium, the thyroid gland went, oh no, and it secreted calcitonin. Okay. So when you look at the thyroid gland and you look at the follicles on the thyroid gland, those follicular cells were secreting thyroid hormone, T3 and T4. But between the follicles, there are these other little cells, these pale pink cells in this particular diagram, and they're called C cells. Why are they called C cells? Because they secrete calcitonin. They go, oh no, too much calcium. When there's too much blood calcium, and calcitonin goes in your bloodstream and it travels to its target organs. So let's think bone, kidney, and your small intestines. In your bone, your osteoblasts are going to become activated. So they're going to start depositing massive amounts of calcium by building new bone. And those osteoclasts are not going to be working. They're going to be inhibited. In your kidneys are not going to be reabsorbing any calcium. Instead, you're going to be peeing out calcium in your urine. And in your intestines, you're not going to be absorbing any of that dietary calcium, no matter if you're eating bones or drinking milk. Even if you have vitamin D, you are going to have increased calcium loss from your intestines. So that's what calcitonin will do. Now, in response to low blood calcium levels, hopefully you remember the parathyroid gland becomes active, and the parathyroid glands are on the back side of your thyroid gland, and they secrete parathyroid hormone, and they act on the same 3 target organs. So if you know the target organs for calcitonin, then you know the target organs for parathyroid hormone, and hopefully these 2 slides are a review. But in this case, because we're trying to elevate calcium levels, the osteoclasts in the bone will become active so that they're munching and breaking up the bone to release the stored calcium. In this case, in the kidneys, vitamin D has become activated, so calcium gets reabsorbed in the intestines and calcium gets reabsorbed from the kidneys. So homeostasis here is the yin and the yang between calcitonin and PTH, and this is happening all the time in your body. So if high, you're stimulating your thyroid to kick out calcitonin. If low, you're stimulating your parathyroids to kick out parathyroid hormone. Notice, no matter what happens, there's no hypothalamus, no releasing hormones, no inhibiting hormones, and there's no pituitary, no neurohypophysis, no anterior lobe of the pituitary either, no flat pig involved. So guess what time it is? Yes, it's time for you to do this again. Fill out the 4 blanks for calcium. This means you need to do this twice. 1 for high blood calcium and 1 for low blood calcium. Once again, if you have any trouble, shoot me an email through the Canvas inbox. Moving on, let's talk about the pineal gland, which is right behind the thalamus. It was one of the last parts of the endocrine system to be discovered, and therefore, we don't understand a whole lot about it. We know the main job is to help control the 24-hour circadian sleep wakefulness thing. It does. It's not a freaking alarm clock like many people think it does. And it helps control. It doesn't do it all on its own. So if we look at this, what happens is after it gets dark, the pineal will start secreting increased amounts of melatonin. So when it starts getting dusk, you can see melatonin levels start going up, but not until it's darker, you can start getting higher levels. But after a few hours, notice long before it's light, those levels start going down. So by the time it's daylight, the levels are low. And the whole time you're exposed to bright light, those levels are going to be down at your ankles. But I want you to also know that cortisol is kind of doing the opposite thing. Cortisol has a diurnal pattern of secretion, but notice cortisol peaks in the early morning hours right before you wake up. Okay. And so it's high in the morning, it stays high in the morning, and then starts going down in the evening. And it is at its lowest at like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. All right. So getting back to melatonin, we know it can help protect against neurodegeneration. So in other words, this melatonin cycling can help protect against Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. And so folks who do this dark and light cycling, we know that they have a lower incidence of Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. So it's another reason to do that. We also know it interacts with female hormones and help regulating the menstrual cycles. Now, the bad news is we don't do a whole lot of female physiology stuff because all the initial studies on human physiology were done on 18 to 21-year-old male military recruits. Okay. And here's the other thing, melatonin helps regulate sexual development. How do we know that? Because we know if the pineal is destroyed, you have a very early puberty. All right, so it has something to do with sex and your sex hormones. What? We don't know yet. Why? Because it's the least part of the endocrine system that we understand. So let's talk about something we do understand a little bit more, and that is the adrenal gland. And boy, is the adrenal gland complicated. So you may have to watch these next 3 or 4 slides more than once. So the adrenal gland is adjacent to the renal glands, and renal is another word for the kidneys. So the adrenal glands are these triangular hat-shaped things which literally sit on top of the kidneys. And yes, they are bright yellow in real life because they have lipid producing hormone. Well, not lipid producing. They have hormones that are made out of lipid cholesterol base, and that is bright yellow in your body. And it's very triangular. When we cut the adrenal gland in half, there is an inner part called the adrenal medulla, and then there is an outer part called the adrenal cortex. Now, the adrenal cortex does something totally different than the adrenal medulla. And the adrenal medulla produces stuff I'm going to talk about. And the adrenal cortex actually has 3 layers of its own. And that's what I want to talk about first. So starting with the adrenal cortex, all 3 layers are going to produce hormones, all of which are steroid hormones, which means their receptors are inside the cell, meaning slower to act and they act longer. The outermost layer are mineralocorticoids. Don't have to know that word for this class, but the prime example of this is a hormone called aldosterone. You do have to know this word, and this is a hormone that is important for regulating blood pressure. And its primary target is the kidney. It is released when blood volume and or blood pressure are low. Okay, so if you've had an accident and you've had some bleeding and your blood volume goes low, you're going to kick out aldosterone. Or if your blood pressure is low from being dehydrated, you're going to kick out aldosterone. And we are going to discuss later on the effect that this is going to have on the kidney, and it's going to make the kidney kick out a hormone called renin, which is going to make the kidney reabsorb sodium and water, thereby bringing those things back into the blood, thereby increasing your blood volume and blood pressure. So we'll talk about that when we get to the kidney. Deep to this layer, there's a different type of cell which kicks out glucocorticoids. Don't have to know that word, but the example of this is cortisol. So if you've ever heard of cortisol, that's like the kissing cousin to cortisol. Now, here's the thing about cortisol. Cortisol is the end hormone in a 3-hormone chain. Okay, so cortisol is controlled by the A of flat pig from the anterior pituitary, which is controlled by a hormone from the hypothalamus. Okay. So cortisol regulates carbohydrate, protein, and fat metabolism. It will screw up your blood sugars, but it is not responsible for raising or lowering your blood sugar. So has nothing to do with blood sugar homeostasis. All right. So what I want you to remember about cortisol is that it has to do with metabolism, all three types of foodstuffs, repair of damaged tissue, and counteracting this whole inflammatory response we're going to learn about in the next module. And then deep to the layer of cells that kicks out cortisol is our third layer of cells, the deepest layer in the adrenal cortex. And this layer kicks out our sex steroids. Yes, it kicks out both male and female sex hormones. If you're a boy, it's kicking out androgens and estrogens. If you're a girl, it's kicking out estrogens and androgens, which are the precursor of testosterone. So yes, it doesn't matter if you're a boy or a girl. You're going to get both boy and girl hormones from your adrenal cortex. And even after puberty, where if you're a boy, your testes take over and give you massive amounts of testosterone. And when you're a girl, your ovaries take over and give you your estrogens and progesterones. Your adrenal cortex is still going to be kicking out these sex steroids. And so these regulate sexual development for both sexes, as well as have a role in regulating skeletal growth at puberty. Okay, so that's it for the adrenal cortex. Kind of complicated, but just think of each layer does something different. So now let's look at the middle of the adrenal gland, the middle called the adrenal medulla. And the adrenal medulla has two different types of things. So I know here it's showing these peptides, something called substance P, which is a really cool thing. It has to do with perception of pain, but we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about catecholamines. And so what are catecholamines? Catecholamines are the names for when epinephrine and norepinephrine, you know those neurotransmitters? When those neurotransmitters are released into the bloodstream, so they're hormones, we call them catecholamines. So anytime you hear the word catecholamines, that means norepinephrine and epinephrine as a hormone. Otherwise, if you hear norepinephrine and epinephrine, you need to think of them as neurotransmitters. Okay? So catecholamines will be released from the adrenal medulla when you're exercising, if you have emotional stress, if you have anxiety, taking a test, if you have physical stress. And how this happens is courtesy of your sympathetic nervous system. So I know we didn't talk about this when we learned about the sympathetic nervous system, but I'm going to add it in now. So to remember sympathetic nervous system, we always talk like we had a 2-neuron chain, and the first one was short and the second one was long. Well, in this case, we're going to have that preganglionic short fiber going through that ganglion without synapsing. So it's actually not short. It's going to go all the way to the effector organ, which happens to be the adrenal medulla. And so that preganglionic sympathetic nervous system fiber is going to release acetylcholine as its neurotransmitter, which is going to act on the cells in the adrenal medulla, which then is going to cause those cells to release norepinephrine and epinephrine into the bloodstream. So yes, your fight or flight will cause this as well. Only now we have epinephrine and norepinephrine in your bloodstream. So not only do we have it acting on your blood vessels, to raise your blood pressure, acting on your heart, to increase your heart rate, acting on your airways, to increase your airways, acting on your pupils, to give you far vision, acting on your skeletal muscle to increase your blood flow. All those were local things. Now we have this systemic bloodstream effects. So we have a lot longer effects going on. Okay, we're done with the adrenal gland. Let's talk about the pancreas. I think this is the last organ I want to talk about because the pancreas is complicated. The pancreas has both exocrine and endocrine. The pancreas sits just behind your stomach and just in front of your spine. Kind of squished in there. If we were to cut your pancreas right here in the middle, you would see a duct which runs the entire length of your pancreas and can dump pancreatic secretions into your small intestine. That's your pancreatic duct. And attached to your pancreatic duct, you would see these things which look like blue raspberries. These are the exocrine glands, and this is 90% of your pancreas, where the cells are making secretions which are to be released into these ducts, which are then going to go onto the surface of your small intestine, which are going to help break down all your food stuff so those little nutrients can be absorbed, which is what you want to do with your food. Now, these things that look like red raspberries, these are the endocrine part of the pancreas. So it's only about 10 to 15% of the pancreas. Each one of these is known as an islet of Langerhans, as in a tiny little island named after the guy who discovered them, some Jew named Langerhans. And here's what they would look like under a microscope. You can see the cells are totally different. And if you look at them closely, you can see like not all the cells look the same. And that's because there's like 4 or 5 different types of cells in there. And each different type of cell secretes a different hormone. Not to worry, we're not going to learn about all the hormones the pancreas secretes. We're going to talk about 2 of the hormones, specifically the 2 pancreatic hormones that give us glucose homeostasis. And those 2 hormones are insulin and glucagon, the yin to the yang. All right. So if this is an islet of Langerhans, these red cells around the periphery, these are the alpha cells. Why are they alpha cells? Because they were the first ones that they figured out what they did. And what they do is secrete glucagon. Okay. And you might think from the name, it would be like glucose, be gone, but you would be wrong. What it means is glucose is gone. Okay. So the stimulus for the alpha cells to secrete glucagon is when you have a low blood glucose level. So when you have a low blood glucose level, the pancreatic alpha cells in the islets of glucagon. So remember all 3 things: pancreas, islets of Langerhans, and alpha cells are going to release glucagon. And the liver is going to break down the glycogen that was stored in it and thereby release glucose into the blood. Glucagon is also going to travel to the adipose tissue, break down the stored fat. And those 2 things are going to help you achieve normal blood glucose levels. Bring you back down to normal, back to your set point. Now, if the opposite happened, let's look at another cell. The beta cells, all these orange cells here in the middle, the islets of Langerhans. These are the beta cells. Why? Because they were the second cells to figure out what they do. They secrete insulin. The stimulus for insulin secretion is a high blood glucose level. Doesn't have to be totally out of the normal. It's the fact that like you've eaten and 20 minutes later, your blood sugar is going up and your body's going, oh no, in another minute or 2, we're going to be out of normal. So I'm going to start releasing insulin now because the pancreas has stored a little bit of insulin. And then other cells are going to say, okay, we're going to become an insulin factory. And so you're going to start kicking out some insulin. And there are 3 target cells for insulin. Myocytes, remember what those are? Yeah, your muscle cells. Hepatocytes, these are liver cells. And adipocytes, your fat cells. So When insulin gets secreted, cells in your liver, your muscle, and your adipose tissue have receptors for them. Okay. Now the liver stored glucose as glycogen. So what's going to happen is insulin's going to bind to its receptor. That opens the channel, and glucose can now enter the liver cell and get stored as glycogen. Muscle, insulin binds to its receptor, opens the channel, glucose can enter the muscle cell, be used as energy source. You can make protein. Adipose tissue, insulin binds to its receptor, opens the channel, glucose can enter the adipose site, you can form fat. So notice, insulin is not breaking down glucose in the blood. No. Insulin binds to its receptor on the target cells. And when it binds to its receptors, it's like turning a key in the lock and opening the door to that cell so that glucose can enter that cell. And that is how the blood glucose lowers to normal, is those cells take up glucose from the blood. All right, so let's take a minute talking about diabetes mellitus. So when somebody says they have diabetes, whether type 1 or type 2 diabetes, this is the type of diabetes they're talking about. And in the United States, almost 12%. That's 1 in 8 people has diabetes. In some populations, Hispanics, higher than that. Of the people that have diabetes, 20%, 1 in 5 don't know they have it. Why? Because they don't go to a primary care practitioner to find out. They don't get the tests. If you don't have health insurance, you don't go get tested. The thing is, we don't want to wait till you have diabetes because you start getting end organ damage while you have pre-diabetes. And 80% of those with pre-diabetes don't know it. So please go get checked. We have a simple blood test. We can look to see if you have pre-diabetes, and you can start doing changes while you have pre-diabetes. So what's going to happen is your cells, especially the liver and the muscle, you don't have that insulin key opening the door, so they can't take up glucose. So your cells have to use other fuels. So your muscle is going to break down muscle to use for energy. That's not good. So in the midst of plenty, in the midst of having sky-high blood sugar levels, your cells are starving. So there's a famine in the midst of a buffet. So let me talk about some of the signs and symptoms that go with diabetes. Remembering the problem with diabetes is not a low blood sugar. People with diabetes have a low blood sugar. That's a complication from not treating their diabetes correctly. The problem with diabetes is high blood glucose levels. So here's what happens with high blood glucose levels. That blood sugar goes into your kidney where it's filtered into your kidney. So it's with all the liquid. And what normally happens is there are protein carriers that carry the sugar back into your blood. That's what happens if you have a normal blood sugar level. All the sugar goes back into your blood. But if you have a high blood sugar level, you only have this many protein carriers. So only this much goes back into your blood. And this much is stuck in your urine. So it's going to make your urine sweet. So if you tasted your urine, it would taste sweet, like apple juice. But here's the other problem. Sugar has an osmotic pull, meaning it's going to suck water out of you and put it into your pee, meaning your urine volume is going to go up. So what happens when somebody is diabetic? They pee a lot. So they're getting up at night to pee. So just ask yourself, are you getting up at night to pee? You shouldn't have to be getting up at night to pee. You should be able to sleep all night. Now, because you are losing extra fluid at night, well, actually with diabetes, you're losing extra fluid all day. And what happens when you lose extra water? You get thirsty, right? So what are you doing because you're peeing too much? You're going to start drinking. And here's the problem. You think you're peeing a lot because you're drinking a lot, but it's the other way around. You're drinking a lot because you're peeing a lot. And that's why you're not recognizing you have diabetes. All right, so there are some other signs and symptoms that go along with diabetes. In other words, you can be hungry. Why? Because your cells are starving, even though they have the buffet of the high blood sugar levels. The cells are not getting the sugar into the cells. The sugar is staying in the blood and then going into the kidneys and going into your toilet. So you're hungry. And because the cells aren't getting the energy they need, you're tired. And you can lose weight without even trying. Now, you know how hard it is to lose weight. So if you're losing weight and you're not paying attention to what you're eating and you're losing weight, go see your doctor, healthcare provider. Numbness and tingling of the feet. This is because you have end organ damage. It affects your nerves. And sexual dysfunction, gentlemen, it affects your penis. And you don't get that back if you start treating the diabetes. So go right away. If you find you are drinking and peeing and drinking, go get screened for diabetes. All right. So that's it for the endocrine system, but I do want to talk about one other thing. And that's why I always say, do handwritten notes. Why you should take notes by hand. Because if learning is your goal, typing and taking notes is a terrible idea. The only thing it makes you good for is if you want to be a secretary. Taking notes by hand forces you to actively listen and decide what's important. If you're sitting in a classroom, the teacher is not going to talk slow so you can write every word, which means you have to actively listen and think about what's important and put it in your own words. There are tons of studies about this. You want to study, ask me, I'll send you a link to a study. Research shows students who use laptops to take their notes perform poorly in classes. Yes, if you have a laptop, you can write more facts than if you're taking notes by hand. But here's my question to you. Aren't more teachers giving you notes nowadays? Do you really need to write down, type all those freaking write all those facts? Or has the teacher given you those facts already? Or are those facts already in your textbook? But here's the thing. Look at the concepts. The people with laptops, they're not doing any thinking. It's all rote. Let me just write every word she's saying. I'm not having to think about a thing. I am just typing all the words as they're coming out of her mouth. They're going down in my fingers right there. And I am not thinking about anything. And then later on, I'll probably read my notes once when studying. I may not think about what's written, or because I may not have time because I have typed 10 pages of notes. And it's just too much material to go through. Whereas if I've taken notes by hand, I had to condense it and only write the important things. And look, I had to think about stuff. And sometimes I tell students, don't take any notes. Just sit there and listen and think. If you have a question, write your questions because you have the notes I've given you. And then write me your questions or have a meeting and ask me your questions and we can go over where you have questions. All right, with that, I'm done with the endocrine system. We have one more week in this material. We're going to do senses and then I am going to come back and I've already figured out what the last week is, but the last topic is, but you will see shortly. See you soon. Bye. Thank you for all your hard work.